O'Neill, you guys are in for such a treat tonight. Abby O'Neill is a 8-star Golden Circle, 11-star Crystal Executive, which is amazing. And you recently hit 8-star, right?
I did. Yes, the last shake release.
Yes.
Nice. Congrats.
And 11 Crystal Executives is so incredible, so amazing. She is a mom with just such a big heart and a heart of service, a heart to really just empower people to dream bigger and do big things, which is so fun. I know that is going to be able to, her story is going to relate to so many of yours on the line tonight. So Abby, will you start by sharing some of your story with us?
I would. Thank you for asking me to be on your call. It's an honor.
Yes.
And I'm trying to get my energy up because I am so feeling pregnant right now, and it's 9:30 and I'm like, I'm ready to go. So I'm going to bring it to you guys. So I got started with Isagenix. It will be 6 years, the end of the year in December, January timeframe. And when I first got started, I was actually following a girl that I didn't know very well. Her name is Joanna Cavalcanti. She's one of my best friends in the whole world now, but I had met her at a beach bar in Aruba years and years and years ago and followed her on social media and followed her journey with Isagenix for over a year without interacting with her at all. Like, I didn't like on her posts. I didn't comment on her posts. I didn't say hi to her. She probably forgot that I existed, but she was consistent every single day for a very long period of time that I finally reached out to her and I said, Joanna, I don't know if you remember me. We met in Aruba. How do I get your life? And she shared Isagenix with me and she showed me one of those awesome videos. And I said, thank you so much. That's awesome. I don't think it's for me though. And it took me a good 3 months to say yes to joining Isagenix. And when I said no to Joanna, she didn't just talk to me about Isagenix in those 3 months leading up. She continued to reconnect and build a relationship with me, which I think is really important to note. And then I actually was out in Colorado visiting my husband's family for Thanksgiving a couple months after Joanna and I had that initial conversation. And on Thanksgiving Day, I opened the pantry and there were Isagenix products in my husband's aunt's closet. And I was like, what? I was like, you do this stuff? You're a CrossFitter. And she's like, yeah, our whole gym uses it. I was like, whoa, this isn't just for weight loss? What do you mean? This is good stuff? So I literally messaged Joanna and I was like, I'm at my breaking point. I was at the time exhausted. I was running a nanny agency, nannying myself. My husband worked for a marketing company. We were always working. We had 2 young kids. Physically, I felt not like myself, not confident, didn't feel great after our second baby, and never saw him. We were like 2 ships passing in the night, and we had so much debt, school loan debt, credit card debt. I was like, we're doing all the right things, and nothing's working. So when I finally reached out to Joanna, I wanted the products. I needed the transformation physically, but what I really wanted was the business and the lifestyle that she was portraying. And I knew if the products worked for me, that I was absolutely going to pursue whatever it was this network marketing Isagenix thing was, because I knew nothing about it. And I jumped in fast. I felt amazing after about a week using the products. And I said to Joanna, just tell me what to do. And I literally did everything that she told me to do. I was coachable. I had no ego. I was on every call she told me to get on. I was doing 3-way calls. I had no time to build this business. I was nannying 50 hours a week. Both my little girls were with me all the time because my husband was always gone. So I was like hiding in the bathroom. I was putting my kids in the car. I was scheduling calls around all of the kids that I was taking care of. And within a short period of time, I was able to replace my income running my nanny agency and nannying that I went full time with Isagenix. And I think a lot of that is because of my commitment and belief and vision that when I said yes to Isagenix, I wasn't trying it out. I wasn't saying yes to Isagenix because I wanted to see what it was about. When I made the decision to do this, I saw it as the financial vehicle that was absolutely, without a question of doubt in my mind, going to give my family the life that I knew we deserved. It was going to finally allow us to be a full unit, full-time family, and not have me feeling like I was a single parent raising 2 little girls on my own while my husband and I both worked extremely hard, never getting to enjoy life together. That it was going to absolutely be the financial vehicle to pay off the student loan debt, the credit card debt, give us extra spending money to be able to take our children out to restaurants and be able to buy dessert if they wanted, not have to think about whether or not it was going to like make it so that we weren't going to have money in the bank after. And I built the first 6 months of my business with that belief that it already happened. There was no what if, there was no if it happens or if it doesn't happen within 2 years, or I'll give it this amount of time. Or I didn't look at other leaders and say, well, it must be easy for them, because I was like, if they can do it, so can I. Let me learn from them. Let me ask them what they're doing. Let me be coachable. Let me know that even though I think I might know something's the right way, that if I learn from another leader and they're doing it a different way, maybe it works better. So when I went full time, I was psyched. I was like, this is great. It's happening. And a month later, my husband got let go from his job. He had the job, he had the payment, he had the security to float us while I made this Isogenics thing work. And I remember feeling crushed and hitting a moment in my business, because I think it's important for me to share this, because I think all of us hit those moments where it's like, I don't know if I can do this anymore because I don't know if it's the right thing. And I remember sitting and having a conversation with my husband saying, like, we don't have a dime. It's now that you don't have your income to float our family. Like, my income with Isogenics barely replaced what I was making. And now we have none of your income. And that fueled us. We had two decisions. We could have made the decision to both go back to make sure we had jobs that were going to keep us stable, the quote unquote right thing that a lot of people would do for them. And we made the decision that no one was ever going to pull a rug out from underneath us again. No, we were never going to put our heart and soul into someone else's dream and build their life and build their dreams and have somebody be able to end it so abruptly. We wanted to create financial security for our family. We knew the way that we could do that was with Isogenics, with this opportunity, and with residual income. So my husband didn't go back to work. He stayed home full time with me. We did everything we needed to do to put food on the table for our kids while we made this Isogenics business work. There were no excuses. We got to every event. We were doing things and investing in our business in ways that I know the typical person might not, and that's okay. But we were willing to put it all on the line because we knew that Isogenics was going to change our family's life, because it already had started to. And then from there, I mean, almost 6 years later now, like, we've been blessed to be able to bring a third baby into our family, baby Rhea, who's going to be 3 soon, because of the financial opportunity. I'm actually pregnant with our 4th baby right now. We have 3 girls, and this is our rainbow baby boy after going through a lot of losses. That would never have been possible if it weren't for Isogenics, if it weren't for the financial opportunity that my family now has. It wouldn't be possible for us to have purchased a home that we have now, to be able to raise our children together instead of 2 ships passing in the night. It wouldn't be possible for us to be able to travel and explore different parts of the country and the world because of Isogenics, and expose our children to that. I wouldn't be the person I am today, emotionally, mentally. I've completely transformed as a human being, far beyond any income that we have made, any physical transformation that I have had. My marriage is different. The way I show up as a mom is different. The way I show up for myself is different. The way I show up for my children is different. The past 6 years have literally transformed every part of my life, and I'm grateful for it every single day that I said yes to the opportunity. And I always remember when I'm having hard days, or I'm feeling like I don't want to show up on social media consistent, or I think it doesn't matter, I always think of myself sitting behind the other side of a screen when Joanna was showing up, thinking to myself, what if she just didn't show up one day? What if she decided that it was too hard, that it wasn't working, that nobody was saying yes, that she was investing too much in it and she wasn't seeing a return? What if she had at any point decided it wasn't for her? My life would be drastically different right now. And every time I want to quit, I think about how she didn't quit, and she gave me the opportunity to show up, and she gifted me something that changed my life. And how dare I ever take that away from somebody else this year, 10 years from now, that this might save their family and change their life. So that's like a long version of my story. I mean, that's essentially, there's so much more in there, and we'll get into details. You can ask questions, but I feel so new still. I feel like I'm still a baby in network marketing. I'm still brand new to Isogenics. I'm still learning every single day. I learn more from new people that I connect with in Isogenics that just started sometimes than I do people who've been in it for 20 years. I love to learn and grow and realize that what I do is amazing, but there might be an even better way. So let's go. Let's transform. Let's continue to build and become better and better.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I didn't realize how much of our stories were similar. Holy moly. Okay. And I know I spoke on Joanna's call a while back, so you heard some of our story, but we can relate to so much of that. Yeah, for sure. But gosh, what an amazing story. And congrats on your pregnancy. Did not know that. Yes. Oh my goodness. Congrats.
You're gonna love having 4, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Yes. Huge fans of 4 kids for sure. As exhausting as it is, and as how as happy as we are that they go back to school this week.
Right.
But honestly, there's so many questions I can ask you in the midst of your story, because obviously you had to find some sort of routine. You know, even if it was fitting it into nannying and having your own kids there, like, how did you stay so consistent in all of that on top of, you know, what was your routine like? Because I think more people can relate to the beginning probably of your journey than having, more time, right? So how did you really fit that in?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I, first and foremost, am not the most organized person. I am, if you've been to a UIA event, David Wood color code, I am a yellow through and through. So organization is not my strong point, which I would have thought would have maybe held me back. But this is what I did think about when I first got started, and what I always committed to is that I knew that there were certain things that I had to commit to and get done regardless of what was going on in my life. So having 2 young girls and taking care of other people's children, which some people have other jobs and you're not doing this full time, is that you don't always have time, and your schedule sometimes looks different day to day. So you don't have the luxury of saying, you know what, my office hours are from 9 to 12 and then from 5 to 7. It doesn't look that, and even if you are full time, if you have children, it still doesn't always look like that. So I knew I had to be flexible. I had to learn to adapt, and I knew there had to be certain things that were non-negotiables in my business to take me to the level that I needed to be to create more time to do more of the things that were going to grow my Isogenics business. So for me, it was posting on social media every single day. I followed the Facebook system that Isogenics put out, the social media system, like my life depended upon it. I knew that at the beginning, and this is what I used at the beginning, and it might not resonate with you, but I want to be honest, is what I did. I figured out that if I could sell 2 value packs a week, that I was going to start to create extra income up front, and it was going to start to build the residual long term. So I knew that if I could do 2 value packs a week, which was what my goal was at the beginning, and sometimes it wasn't 2 value packs. Sometimes it was a 30-day system. Sometimes a week would go by and I wouldn't have any enrollments, but then 1 week I would have 3. That was always my goal. And I knew that I had to have lots of conversations for that to happen. It wasn't just, hey, I'm going to reach out to 10 people and see what happens. It was, I'm going to take that list very serious, and I'm going to go through hundreds of people and reach out and reconnect, and not necessarily talk to them about Isogenics, but I knew I had to build relationships and connections, because everything I was learning as I first got started, because I had no network marketing experience. I read that GoPro book like 5 times, listened to the CD, listened to the audio. I was like, okay, do this, make my list, reach out, connect, ask questions. So I knew every single week being consistent on Facebook and social media was a non-negotiable and a no-brainer, because from the outside looking in, nobody knows what's going on in your life. They only see what you put out there. So I showed up consistently. I started to cast the vision of what this was going to be for me, started to be consistent. I made sure that I had as many conversations as I needed to have to get my 2 enrollments every week. And I think that's sometimes different than how other people view it. They're like, well, my goal is to have 10 conversations a day, every day, which is great. But mine was flipped. It was, I'm going to have as many conversations as I need to have this week till I close 2 sales. So some weeks, if I had 2 enrollments by Tuesday, I was like, sweet, I'm great. I'm still going to work the rest of the week. But it wasn't as much pressure to me. But I was like, if it came to Sunday and I still didn't have any enrollments, I was working until 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, because I made that commitment to myself. And when it didn't happen, I wasn't upset or defeated. I just said, okay, next week, 2 enrollments, let's go, let's get going. And then I was always growing myself and working on my mindset and plugging into the calls. Like, it wasn't, I don't I don't feel like there is so much we have to do in this business. We overwhelm ourselves. We make it more complicated than it needs to be. And we have the biggest gift in the world. I wish I had Penny when I started this business.
Right.
If I had Penny when I started this business to make my prospecting lists, to go through the new customers that were starting, like I could have gotten done what I got done in hours, probably in 10, 15-minute blocks, even easier. But I think that so many times when we start this, or we make the decision to be really committed to this, we want it to look a certain way. We want our week to fall into alignment and to be a certain way, and the certain hours are designated to this, and we feel accomplished when it goes this way. But the reality of when you own your own business and when you build Isogenics, especially if you're building it in pockets of time, is it's always going to look different. And that's a mindset and something that we can all work on to make sure that we're flexible and we adapt to whatever it is that happens in our life, so that when Sunday comes around and the week didn't go as we planned and we didn't get to everything we wanted to do, we don't just say, ugh, I'm defeated. That stinks. It didn't work. I'll start tomorrow. It's no, didn't go the way I wanted, but what can I do right now? What action can I take to get my mindset right, to feel a little bit better about what I've done, so that I can go into the week in a great mindset? I don't even know if that answers your question, but that's literally how I built it. It was like, this is my non-negotiables. I'm going to do them. I'm not going to have an excuse, because no one's going to tell me to do it. Like Joanna never held my hand and was like, Abby, I don't see you posted on social media. Abby, set up those 3-way calls with me. It was, she literally told me one time, this is what I did to build the business at the beginning, send me an email. And I was like, okay, I better do what she's doing, because clearly it worked for her. And I want what she has, so I'm willing to do it. I know she's not going to build it for me. So it was messy. It was extremely messy. It still is. Like, it doesn't look beautiful behind the scenes.
Right. I know. Gosh, never. Never. But I love that you hit on Penny, because I can't imagine not having it now, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, okay, so let's get into that a tiny bit, because how has that revolutionized your business, coming from your perspective, and how you see it working for you and within your team? Because I know there's people on this call that are using it, but I think if we can continue to help people get consistent with it, I mean, that's where the magic happens, right?
Yes. So I feel like my customers have better customer service than they've ever had before, because organization is not my strong point. I still do have sticky notes and lists, and I go through my back office to see, oh, who ordered last month? Who should I follow up with? Now it's like, oh, they're on week 2. Text them, how you doing, Sean? Like, oh, the 45-day check-in. Hey, how's it going, Sarah? Any questions? Anything I can do for you? It's like mindless for me. I'm like, this is great. I can get people started, plug them in, and now Penny tells me when to follow up. It's perfect.
Right.
I just feel like the customer service is so much better on a personal level because of what Penny's doing. And the fact that auto ships now, I can see what people are ordering is the greatest gift in the world, because before you had no idea what people are ordering. You had to rely on them telling you, and it was just never something that people would really share in depth. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, Penny has an auto ship coming up. I can literally message her and be like, I see you have the new whole blend shakes and the new bars. I can't wait to hear how you like them. I feel it just makes it easier for us, but even easier for the new person coming in that might have zero experience and not a lot of knowledge at all about Isogenics. It gives you more of an ability to connect like you've been there for a long time, in my opinion. I just think it's a great gift that we all have been given. And if you're not using it, I highly recommend it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And with Isogenics, being that they literally give us everything, except we need to talk to people, right? And give them the best customer service. This is what's so incredibly helpful for those few things that we do, right? Do you have any questions? I'm just going to keep going.
I've got a whole list of questions here. I'm going to keep Abby until like midnight.
You might lose me.
So I'll jump in here. I mean, I might take it different directions here, but first off, I love your fire and your passion. I mean, it's absolutely, and your conviction, and, you know, just hearing how you just set your mind to it from day one, and there was no deviating from you is so, inspiring. I absolutely love it. So thank you for sharing that with us. I want to go back to what you mentioned in your early build, because we have a lot of people here who are also earlier in the build. We have people at various levels of their business, but you mentioned that your goal early on was 2 value packs per week, and you talked to people until. So in those early years when you were first starting, the until portion, you know, like you didn't know how many people it was going to take. And, you know, I know Eric worries, make your list, build your list. You always have a list. So with the until, that can be a very intimidating number. So where did you add people to your list? How did you keep that list fresh? How did you keep it going in those early days when you're like, I got my 100 people and I talked to them all already. Now what am I going to do?
Yeah. So I was always adding to that list because I realized, well, I really love the product. And I say this all the time to people. I'm like, if you don't love the Isagenix products and you're not easily spending 100 BV, 200 BV, 300 BV a month, like fall in love with the products more, because it was so, in my opinion, simple for me to have conversations and connect with people because I was so passionate and it changed my life. I couldn't imagine going without the products. So it really, the reason that I could have so many conversations and talk to everybody anywhere that I went is because I would have done that even if I didn't get paid from Isagenix. I felt that amazing when I first started Isagenix. But I realized early on that I didn't know enough people to take this business to the level that I knew I wanted to go. I just didn't know. I didn't have enough Facebook friends. I didn't even really have an Instagram yet. Like I didn't know enough people that were going to make me a millionaire. I was going to have to meet thousands of new people and open this opportunity up to them to eventually have the success that I wanted. So everywhere I went, I was intentional with making new friends and adding new friends on social media. So whether it was at my children's sports games, whether it was on social media in groups that I was in, connecting with people, it was going through my mom and dad's Facebook lists and being like, who do I know? My grandmother's Facebook list, adding people that maybe were in the family. I knew that making a list of 100 people was a great place to start, but especially at the beginning, I probably wasn't going to have a lot of yeses. And I wasn't ever going to let that defeat me. So everywhere I went, where I worked, the family that I nannied for, the people that we were connected with because of them, I had no problem adding everyone and anyone to my list because I was genuinely going to connect with these people and not just pitch them Isagenix. So for me, I'm not a cold network marketer, I guess you would say. I don't send inbox messages like, hey, try Isagenix. And I know that works for a lot of leaders. For me, it's not an alignment. It's not authentic. I like to build relationships and ask a lot of questions and be really consistent and build that relationship. And then absolutely bring up Isagenix with people that I'm in alignment with and the people that we have a solution that could help. So I knew I was going to have a lot of conversations. I have people that I work with right now that they feel defeated because they've had 5-10 conversations and everyone said no. And I said, and I always say, if you feel that defeated already, you're going to have a really long run trying to build your Isagenix business, because I've had thousands and thousands of conversations and only a fraction of those have ever said yes to me. And a lot of the conversations I had early on, now 6 years later, some of them are coming now. So the list is great, but the list is only as good as you want to continue to build it. It's not stagnant. It's something that is always changing and evolving. And when you get to know those people don't come off my list, it just means that right now is not the right time for them. And it's not my job to convince them or to push them to do something they're not ready for. I don't believe that's what Isagenix is. I believe that we're here, we're not going anywhere, and that we have incredible solutions for everyone. And when they're ready, I will still be here and I will absolutely offer them and serve them with the solution that they need when they need it. But if I'm not here, or if I make it about myself and getting that enrollment right then and there, they might not come back to me and they might get such a sour taste in their mouth, they never come back to Isagenix. So
yeah. No, I love that. Thank you. And I love, the 2 points that I wrote down, which Amanda and I agree so much on it. It's just a genuine connection with people. I mean, people will always be receptive to that. And just like you said too, no just means not right now. Maybe the timing's not right. Whatever's going on in their life just doesn't have them set up right now. So staying in relation really, and building that genuine relationship. Every person that you meet will at some point in their life become a yes. If you're still in business and your doors are still open when the timing is right for that person. I love that. So I'm going to roll into one more question before I hand it over to Amanda, because I want to get this one in. 11-star Crystal Executive is huge. That's super impressive. So you're obviously extremely gifted in developing leaders in your team and identifying people and casting that vision and helping them see what this could be and what it could do for their families. So I guess there's two different directions that we can kind of go with this. And if you wouldn't mind just touching briefly on both, for those of who are running for executive, what tips might you have for them to help push them to executive and encourage them and I guess lessons you've learned? And then secondly is identifying those people within your team, because a lot of times you don't necessarily know who it is. So how do you go about identifying those people who are your next executives? Is going to be executive number 12 and executive number 13, So I guess what tips do you have for the people who are on their way there? And then how do you, identify those people within your organization, whether they're customers today or maybe they're business builders today? They could be anywhere.
So I'll start with the second one just
Sure.
because, so I believe that everyone has the potential to be an executive. Like I really do. And I know not everyone will be, and I know not everyone is coachable, and I know not everyone will want it the same. So I will tell you that I know 11 executives in 5.5 years is an amazing number. Most of those executives, when they hit executive, had been with me for years. I don't have a high conversion of they enrolled and they hit Crystal Executive in 6 months. I have a great conversion rate of they've been with me for 3 years and there's a Crystal reset, and then we all work together and they decide to hit executive after they've done their personal development, after they've built their belief. I believe executive is a mindset. It's a decision. It is something that any of you could do in the next 30 days if you truly made the decision. And I believe that whether you're brand new or you've been here for a couple of years, it's a decision that you make. Our 11th executive had been with us since our first year in Isogenics, and she's never gone anywhere. She's been consistent, but she's never really made the decision to do more than attend events and just be consistent. And we had the Crystal Reset, and she made the decision that this was when she was going to hit it. And she did. And she said to me, wow, I wish I had done that 4 years ago. And I said, well, you weren't ready 4 years ago. She goes, it was so simple once I made the decision. And I go, that's exactly the point, is that it is so simple once you make that decision. But behind that decision has to come unshakable belief and commitment to the action that it's going to take you to have 10 people help 2 people eat. So it's a state of mind. It's a decision that you make. In my opinion, it's not necessarily something that happens coming right out from the gate. I believe everybody should know about it. That upfront money is amazing. But I also don't believe that if somebody doesn't hit it in their first 60 days, that they no longer deserve the attention, that they're not going to be an executive one day, because I think timing is everything with people taking this business to the next level too. And just because, I get just as excited about the person that I'm working with that is doing this very part-time and simply wants to be here for the community and make a cycle here and there. That excites me just as much as the person that I'm helping run to a 6-figure income, because I think they're both as important as the other. I think sometimes in this business model, because so much is possible, we put so much emphasis on the big money and the big recognition and the big ranks that sometimes we fail to put the emphasis on $100, $500, $1,000 a month for a family is life-changing. Like absolutely incredible and life-changing, and just as important, if not more, than the person who goes from 100,000 to 200,000. I would argue that $500, $1,000 a month has more of an impact at that level than once you're already making big money and it gets bigger. So I think about that when I'm working with my team to help them get to executive, because I want them to know until they're ready, I want them to know they belong here. I want them to know that there's no race, that you don't have to go manager, director, executive, have 10 enrollments a month. You don't have to hit X amount of income to belong in Isagenix the same way as the person who came in after you and ran to 6 figures. Because if I don't put emphasis on that, I'm going to lose the most incredible people to walk into our business and this entire company because they think they're not good enough and they think it's not working. This business, in my opinion, is a 5 to 10 year mindset to even get good at it. Like, I feel like I am 5.5 years in and I am barely scratching the surface of knowing what I'm doing yet. I don't want people to ever think, to look at, say, my story and say, well, I've been here as long as Abby has and I don't have the same success. Doesn't matter. That cycle, that person that texts you and says, you changed my life. I could get down on the floor and play with my kids, or my family was able to go out to dinner or take that vacation because of this extra income. Like, you did that. That is important. That's life-changing for the people that you're touching their lives and for you. I think we need more emphasis, and I'm pushing for this in the START community as a START ambassador. We need more emphasis on the small money because it means everything to people when they're getting started. You don't ever have to want to be full-time Isagenix to make this your forever home and a residual income opportunity that can absolutely transform your and your family's life forever. Because it becomes not just about you. It becomes about the you that the Abby O'Neill is watching. And 3 years from now, because you're still here and I'm still watching you, I show up and it saves my family. It gets to a point where you realize, because of this business model and because of this ever evolving, like, incredible nutrition and nourishment and compensation plan, that it's so much bigger than you. That it's not just about what you create, who you enroll, how much money you make, that you have the opportunity to share what you're doing with other people. And I don't know where else to this day, like, I am so passionate about what I do because I don't know what else I could be doing to have the impact that I do. I feel like I get paid to help people dream big, believe in themselves more, transform themselves in every way possible, and hey, live healthier and be able to make income if they want. Like, I feel like it's the best gift in the world. And I could never not share that with other people. Okay, I just went off on a rant, but that's how I do executive.
No, I think we can end the call right there. That was like, pretty much a mic drop. That was amazing.
Did he make you nervous that he's going to keep you till midnight?
No, not at all. No. But like that, those are the conversations that I have when I'm working with people to get to executive, because I want you to know, because there's 28 of you on here. I guarantee you that there are some of you that say you're all in a year from now, you might not be here anymore. And I never want that. I don't want that for anyone. I want you to know it's okay to rest. It's okay to go slow. It's okay to take time to focus on the things that you want, but Isagenix is never going anywhere. And you should never, ever count yourself out on what is possible for you. So like, if that's the one thing that I can do with my time here in Isagenix and in life, is just tell people there is no race. There is no one way to do this. And to never count yourself out because you didn't think it happened the way it should. Oh, I just don't want that to happen.
I know. Yeah, no, so good. Okay, so I've heard you talk a lot about personal development, and I think that is something that we're so grateful for in this business. It's something that you will not get or have in another profession, in my opinion, right? And so how would you suggest someone starting? I mean, obviously you talked about GoPro, and we still love that book a lot, but how do you get people started on their personal development journey and then obviously continue on? Because I think it's the most important thing that we can continue to gift forward.
So I read the 4 Agreements when I started Isagenix, and it changed my life. Like, that one book alone, regardless of everything else that has transformed me, that book changed my life. So if you've never read the 4 Agreements, I highly recommend it. But beyond that, I mean, I could give you a list of books I've read and things that I love, But I also want you to know that you have the resources in Isogenics podcasts. I mean, the Lynn Hagedorn mindset calls, Michael Classic, we have the most incredible leaders in Isogenics. They give you free content that is all based upon personal development, belief, that you don't even necessarily need to go elsewhere and buy other programs or buy hundreds of books. I mean, we have an Isogenics podcast library that is thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of personal development tools available to you for free. David Wood, I mean, you could spend years going through all of his content, and he probably is one of the, I would say he's probably the one person that has had the biggest impact on me as far as personal development and how I show up as a person than anyone else since I started Isogenics. So it's here available for free from your leaders that are running your call, from the other leaders that you're exposed to at events. Like, help me, God, we're having in-person events soon. Like, I'm dying. But like, you can read all the books, but I think that you get the best personal development right inside of Isogenics too, because it's relevant to this industry and this business. And there's so much knowledge that is free to us within this company. And then beyond that, there's amazing podcasts. I mean, like, there's so many different things that you could read and do, but I think sometimes we get so overwhelmed with where to start or what to look at or which one's the best when we we have oversight that in Isogenics, we have probably hundreds of thousands of hours of free personal development through podcasts and trainings right there for you. And all of your teammates that are going to show up, it's all there and available for free.
Yeah. Awesome. Love it. Okay. So I'm going to shift gears a little bit because I feel like, you know, it's so much has changed. Obviously you're talking about in-person events. I can't wait to go back to in-person events. That is for sure. I know. But how have you shifted or pivoted during the last, 6 months of, you know, in your Isogenics business to make the best use of your time, the best use of virtual time, still meeting new people, doing all the things that, you know, you possibly can for your business? What are, you know, some of the top things or top tips that you would give, you know, because we're going to continue to be in this, you know, stage for a little while longer, at least.
Yeah. I mean, it's been hard. Like, I'm not going to lie. It's been challenging because I am like, as much as I love Zoom capabilities, I'm like so sick of the only way I can see people is Zoom. But I knew that when there's a lot less in person, we as leaders were going to have to step up more and stay more connected to our teams than ever. So it's making sure that every single week that I've had FaceTimes or I've had more connection with leaders, I've had more interaction in our groups. I mean, we have done many in-person things outside whenever we can. It's knowing that if I can't be at networking events and I can't be at sports events and I can't be at all these other places where I was meeting people, how am I going to meet people? I'm going to have to be more intentional and more direct with groups on Facebook and going through my Facebook list and rebuilding those connections online and being creative with, okay, what are my interests? What can I get into even more on social media that maybe I wasn't before to try to meet new people? So there's nothing special that I've been doing. It's just more of the online that I was doing before, knowing that I need to stay more connected to people because this business relies on, I mean, continuing to build belief in your team. It's so important to keep your team plugged in. And then I have to keep meeting new people because if I don't meet new people and I'm not adding new people to my list, I'm not growing my business. So it's being intentional and creative with how I can meet people when I can't just go out and be in groups, which I would have normally done. So it's just being creative and spending more time behind the screen.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So what are some things that, do you have a question? I'm going to keep going.
No, go ahead.
What are some things that you wish you would have known in the beginning, or some things that you wish you would have done or put into place earlier? I know you were extremely coachable. I can see that. And obviously your success shows it. But what are some things that, you know, from day one, when you started, you know, to build your Isogenics business that maybe you didn't know right away or put into place?
Yeah, I would have wished that I didn't drag so many people at the beginning, that I knew this would be amazing for them and they just weren't ready. I was so focused on who had shown up that I was like, they're going to be it. They're going to get it. And nothing they were doing was showing me that. But I was like, no, no, no. Like, they need this. They need this. And I remember Joanna actually saying to me, you have to let those people go so that you can open up space for all the people that you're not seeing or paying attention to, because you're so fixed on these people that you think are going to be so amazing and are going to be like the end all be all for Isogenics. I wish that I had had more confidence in letting people go, that I wanted it for them more than they wanted it. And not like letting go, like kicking them out of Isogenics, but not putting my focus there. Because as soon as I shifted and said, I will always be here, maybe it's not the right time for you, I had people show up that probably never would have shown up had my attention always been on specific people that I wanted it for them more than they wanted it. And I think at the beginning, it's really hard because you just want to get those enrollments. You just want to get to that rank advancement. You just want to experience it. So you're more willing to drag people and like just shake them until they get it, when you get to a point where you're like, I want this business to also grow in ease. I want the people that are building with me to actually want to be here too. I want to open my mind and my heart to the people that actually want to be here, not the ones that I want them to be here, but the timing is just not right for them. I wish I had gotten that a little earlier on, because I spent probably the first 6 to 12 months focused on people that are still in my business today. They're not doing anything still. But I was like, they're going to be the next Isogenics millionaire. They will want this. And they're still here, but they're still not doing anything. And if I had never shifted that focus and been okay with that, I would never have been able to get to where I am. So I wish I had known that earlier. And I wish I had known too that it's okay to be obsessed with this industry and obsessed with Isogenics.
Yeah.
I wish that I had known, like, I mean, I had a lot of hard things happen. Like, this is not all easy. My passion is definitely there, but it doesn't mean that I don't have extremely hard days and hard moments in this build. Like, it has not been easy. The unfriending, the things that people say about you to your face, behind your back. I had a video go viral on social media about saying awful, awful defaming of my character. So bad that Isogenics corporate had to get involved, like asking me, are you okay? Like, I wish that I had known that those things, as hurtful as they are okay, because I can still love and be passionate about what I was so excited about at the beginning. And just because somebody else is jealous of it or doesn't agree with it, it's still okay to be extremely excited and passionate about what you see for your family. And no one else is going to pay your family's bills. No one else is going to change your financial situation. It's okay to stay excited and passionate and obsessed with Isogenics and what you're doing, even when those hard moments come and those hard conversations and those things that people say to you that just make you question, like, what am I doing? It's okay to still be obsessed with the vision that you have for what this is going to do for you and your family.
Gosh, you are my twin. Matt's like, are you guys friends? And have you hung out behind the scenes and I don't know?
No, we never have. Just the one time. And I felt so bad because you sent me the message and it went to my other mailbox. I was like,
You're good.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, it happens all the time. You are totally good. But I mean, we can still relate to so many parts of, I mean, literally everything you said. I mean, I promise I didn't pay her to say all these things.
I'm not questioning.
Just exactly. I mean, it's just, this is so, I love your authenticity. I love how real you are and how honest you are, and how you really have so much passion to serve so many people, right? And continue to keep that on the forefront of, what you're doing to really empower other people. And as one last question, if I could ask is, as we're moving forward, it's going to continue to be a balancing act for everyone that honestly has kids. And I think, whether, your kids are in school, whether they're home, whether, they're both, whether they're young, whatever it may be, I think it's going to continue to be more of a balancing act than ever. Right. And so how can you give, some advice on moving forward in that and how you balance, work and family now?
Yeah, I think that your why, as cliche as it sounds, but your reason for building your Isogenics business and getting real clear on that is more important than ever, because it's very easy for our family situations and our children to become our excuses very quickly. And I would challenge anyone that feels that way or hits a point where you do to remember why you're doing this, and to say that it's actually more important for you to put your Isogenics business first sometimes than some of the things that come up in your family. Because if this were your job and you had a boss you had to show up for and you didn't get your paycheck unless you did, we would show up. But because we don't have that, and because we have the chaos of the kids are home, the virtual school, the homeschool, the hybrid school, the whole country shuts down again, who knows what's going to happen? You have to remind yourself, why did I get into this, and what is my goal for building this Isogenics business? Because, and that's going to be different for all of you, but if you're somebody that has even a hope or a commitment to create a full-time income or more with Isogenics, you have to remind yourself that you're doing this for your family. So you might have to involve your kids more than you ever have before. You might have to say no to them in situations that you didn't before because they're around more and the family is always together. But if you're as committed as you say you are to being able to create a full-time income or more, to create residual income for your family, to change the situation you're in now, you're going to have to evaluate when those hard times come and your family wants to watch movies in the evening, or your kids need more of your attention. Maybe it means you need to ask for more help. You need to hire some help, or you need to ask your spouse to step up more. It's having those communication, that conversation to say that your Isogenics business can't be the last thing that fits into your puzzle if it's something that's important for you to change your family's life. It doesn't work that way. So for instance, when I first started Isogenics, I didn't sit down, and not everybody will align with this, and that's fine, but I didn't sit down and watch TV with my husband for almost 2 years. Not one time in the evening did I sit down and watch a movie or TV, because when our kids went to bed, that was focused time that I knew I had to do this. And that won't work for everyone, but I was very open, like we communicated very well about that. And it was something we were willing to not do together to be able to. Now, I mean, we could watch TV all day together if we wanted. And I'm like, go away. Like, give us, like, when you work full time with your husband, and I'm sure you guys know, like, you're like, okay, when do we get a break? No. But I think when those hard times come, it's so easy to put Isogenics on the back burner because there's no one holding you accountable but you. So, and it's easy for you to get in a position where people make you feel guilty for putting your Isogenics business first too, because not everyone sees what you see as to why you're putting in the work now. So if I could tell you anything, it would be to get very crystal clear on why you're doing this, so that when those times come and it's easier to not show up and it's easier to make this the last thing you do, you remind yourself of whether you were really serious and committed when you said, I require a 6-figure income with Isogenics to transform our life so that my husband or my spouse or my children and I can have XYZ. So that I can have more time. If the goal is more time with your family, but you're not willing to give up time with your family to get what you desire, you just have to get really clear on what you want or don't want. Because I can't sit here and tell you like you have to do something because you're a business owner. That's the beauty of it. You get to choose what you do or don't do. But in the chaos of what we have going on right now, if Isogenics, you're not treating it like a real business and a commitment, that sometimes will mean I can't show up at certain things. I'm going to have to ask for help in certain family situations because this has to be a commitment for me. You're going to have, I would think, a harder time hitting the goals that you want to hit with your business if it doesn't become a priority for you in one way or another in your life. Because we really can still build this around our life, but the build still has to happen. No one tells you you have to do it from 9 to 5. But I won't tell you that you can build a business and have the success that you see others have if you're still not willing to put in the hours somewhere. But you get to choose that, and that's the cool part. But you're the only one holding yourself accountable, and that can be the hard part. So that's what I say, get really clear on your why. And when you have days go by where you realize you're putting everybody else first and your Isogenics business is the last thing to happen, because I mean, it's just as easy to do or not do the things that you have to do for this business, to reevaluate why you're doing what you're doing and ask yourself, is it really as important as I said it was? Because if it is, then you'll show up and you'll get the work done, even if it means you have to ask for help or not show up for other things that are also important.
Absolutely. Gosh, so good. Do you have anything else to, I mean, I could just keep going. Oh my goodness.
All right, let me close it with this. So what I love is with having guests and hearing everybody's story is everybody has such a different journey, and they bring such, there's a lot of similarities amongst all of the breakthroughs and the learnings that people have, but it all happens at different times due to different circumstances and instances and experiences and things that we encounter in our own lives. So with all the success that you've had, what are the top, maybe, do you provide some encouragement, but think of the top 2 to 3 things that have contributed the most to your success, and share with us what those pieces of wisdom are, and encourage us as we send us and our team on our way this evening.
Yeah, so I would probably say the most important one is radical responsibility for yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, I think one of the reasons that I have been able to have the success that I have is because it's never been my upline's fault. It's never been the company's fault. It's never been the shake packet broke fault. It's never been anybody else's fault. It's always been, Abby, I need to take responsibility for myself and what I do or what I don't do. And that's how I built my business. And then it's having belief. It's having that belief in yourself that what you say you want, you can actually achieve. And if you don't always have that belief, it's reaching out and asking for help. It's letting people know that you're struggling with something so that they can help pour that belief and remind you why you do what you do. Because I think that those that have unshakable belief and commitment and confidence are the ones that are willing to take radical responsibility for themselves and their actions and what they do and what they don't do. I think it's really easy to make excuses in this business. I think it's really easy to make excuses in our life. And I think one of the greatest gifts we have in Isagenix is as we step into our potential in our Isagenix business and say, take more radical responsibility, have less excuses, take more ownership, build our belief. Those things also show up in our life and transform our life outside of Isagenix too. That's the coolest part about this business, is as you build your business, it changes your life too. The skills and the mindset and the habits and everything that you learn that helps you build this business also helps you thrive more in your life and in your relationships and everything that you do outside of Isagenix too. So it's taking radical responsibility. It's continuing to build that belief. It's getting to events. Like I just said to our team the other day, this is the reality, and this is probably more of a red remark, but it's the reality, is that if you're on this Zoom and you do have a desire to make anything like besides like super part-time income, and you don't have full plans, whatever the next Isagenix event is, no matter what you have to do, you're going to be there. I challenge you to reevaluate how committed you actually are. Because going on almost a full year, possibly 18 months with no corporate events, I mean, we should have 30,000 people at the next corporate event because people know that that is so important for their business. The events built my business. The events built the team that built my business, because I know that every person that I interact with is not going to resonate with me. I am not the end all be all. I don't do everything the way everyone else is going to resonate with and do. And if I don't expose people to events and other leadership, I'm doing them a disservice. I built my business on events. And then the other piece is don't quit. Like, so cliche, but so true. Keep showing up. It's okay to take breaks, to rest. It's okay as long as you continue to show up and you still love these products and you're still here for it. It's okay if you don't do everything you said you were going to do. Life happens. But there's a difference between resting and slowing down than checking out and quitting. There's a difference between, you know what, the best thing for my family right now is to go get a career that's going to pay the bills more. That doesn't mean you failed your Isagenix business. It means that's what's best for your family right now, and your Isagenix business is never going anywhere And it's the most amazing income producing asset, residual income piece that's still going to be there for you if you ever decide to do it more. It's making sure that as you build, you are flexible and adapt to, as long as you continue to show up and never quit. This is the greatest gift that you and everyone you ever come in contact with to bless will ever have. Those are probably some of my.
Love it.
Love it. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Okay. I don't even know how to close this because you gave us so many amazing tips, and I'm so grateful for your time, and your words of wisdom were just incredible. Anything else you want to share?
No, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody, please blow up the chat, showing our love for Abby.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us.
Amazing.
Anything else you want to add?
Yeah. I think that's the Sarah Jackson that I know, and I didn't know she was in your downline. I can't see her because she's never camera on, but I think that's the Sarah Jackson that I know.
I'm sure it is.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. You guys are so sweet. Anything you ever need, you guys, I am totally about one team, like empower you. We are all better when we all do better together. So
for sure.
Anything you ever need, I'm here cheering you on.
Oh,
awesome.
Yes, we are too. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.